Concrete's ability to be molded, cast, or stamped into almost any desired shape or texture has become more popular today than ever before. Today, we're incorporating the latest in three-dimensional textured matte patterns, colored hardeners, and release agents to provide the maximum color, durability, and strength of stamped concrete. Ready? Let's get to work.
Hi, I'm James Belville, and welcome to Concrete Secrets. In this video, you will see how concrete is consolidated into place, colored, and stamped. But first, let's go back a little bit and show you how we got to this point. Hi, I'm with Dale Taylor, the homeowner. Welcome to the show, Dale.
Hey James, how you doing?
Hey, really good. You have some beautiful landscaping going on and been working on your house. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've been doing?
Well, actually, that's what we are doing, is we're tearing out the landscaping and putting in a new desert landscaping, and along with that, I figured I needed a new driveway, so I guess that's where our project begins.
Yeah, right on. That's when you called me, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I have a color chart here, and we're putting it up against some existing brick that he has on the side of his house. And the colors that he's chosen is this saddle tan for the main color. And since we're antiquing the driveway, we're using the smoky gray for the antique agent. And what that's going to do is darken the grout lines, and also it's going to bring out some of the saddle tan highlights. Also, he's agreed to the stamp pattern. It's going to be a beautiful stamp pattern, and this is a European fan stamp that we're going to be using today. And with the combination of the colors with the brick, the landscaping, it's going to look absolutely beautiful. Now that we have the stamp pattern figured out and the colors that we're going to be using, the driveway is going to be set up with radiuses on both sides. And what we've come up here is lap siding to try to get this radius in here, this curve. And this looks pretty good, Dale. What do you think? What do you think this looks like, this curvature? We're just using this for to get an idea on the distance on how far to tie into the driveway.
Yeah, I kind of like this. It kind of rolls right into the main driveway part of it, and I think that'll look pretty nice.
All right. Hey, Robbie, can you pull out your tape measure and let's get a measurement on that and see how far it is? Hey, and welcome to the show, Robbie. Happy birthday. Thank you. This is my son, Robbie Belville. 12 feet, great. On the other side, we're going to put another radius on the other side, but it's not quite as wide. It'll be 12 feet also, so it all looks uniform.
A string line is used to set forms to slab height. Slab height is top of rolled curb at the street and top of entry walk. Note, if this driveway had vertical curb, it would be removed and replaced with city-approved specification construction. This would require a permit.
What Robbie's doing right now is we're going to put a 2x6 in here, and in order to do that, it needs to be at least 5.5 to 6 inches down. So he's got a little ways to travel. Stick the form in there. We'll be setting the form shortly. All right, we're taking our 2x6, going up to our stake, which our radius is going to start 12 feet back to the front of this stake. I'm going to get this thing started. Pull it up to the string. The string's already at grade. Pull that back a little bit. And that's in there. Robbie's going to tie the other side up. Beautiful, that's right on. And I'm spacing these stakes about roughly 3 feet apart. Concrete's going to want to spread that out just a little bit. I'll put one more in there, Rob. Alrighty, also, while we're setting these forms, we're going to put in some stakes here that I call a kicker. And all this is an angled stake set off to the side here, just so when we're pouring the concrete's not going to push it over, and it stays in a straight line. Just like that. And these will also need to be spaced where your other stakes are. Well, that ground's hard right there. That's good. Concrete is only as hard as the ground that it's poured on. You're going to need to take some out of there. We're going to have to dig just a little bit out. Looks like about from here. Beautiful. We're ready to install this next form. I've did a pre-nailed over here to tie it in. Well, I did it both ways. Imagine that. There's one in. Pull that out. Here you go, son. There again, we put the stake right where we started here. We're going to have to cut a little piece over here. And that's going to be 5 foot. We'll get that all chopped out. I'll get the 5 foot ready. It's nice to have a sharp saw. There we go.
To install radius, lap siding is ripped to 6 inches. Stakes are placed closer together for support. Kicker stakes are not used. The nails will impede edging.
Expansion is used to control the expansion of concrete when it expands due to high temperatures in the summer months. We're going to be placing expansion next to the curb by the street. Also, we're going to be placing it in the foundation in the garage area. We're going to start out by this 4-inch piece up against the foundation. It's not allowing us to dig down this part of the foundation. We're going to start out with the 4. And then installing the 6. And this is going to keep the concrete from breaking any existing concrete from the expansion. We want to water these trees on the other side of the driveway. In order to do that, or have electricity to the other side, we're going to install 2 pipes running the entire width of the driveway. We need to glue these together. Also, we're going to cut an extra 2-foot piece to be installed so we can be at least 1 foot on each side of the driveway for easy access. Dale, you're doing a bang-up job. Now that we have the pipes ready, I'm going to pull a string line across, and we're going to dig out for these pipes. We want to be below the dirt grade so we don't have any problems there. Robbie's going to do some pick action. I don't know if I can tie this right. There we go. Have to work so hard. Also filling in the low spots.
Concrete will crack where there is least resistance. Fine grading is very important to the stability of a concrete slab. The uniform compacted substrate will assure that no unnecessary cracking occurs.
Now the grade has to be compacted. We're using this plate compactor in 2 different directions to solidly secure the subgrade. Since colored concrete is acceptable to different materials and minerals that are in the ground, there is a wicking action that can come through the pores to the surface of the concrete, and it can create a problem in the colors. So what we're going to do next is we're going to water the subgrade down, and we're going to roll out the plastic and cover the entire driveway subgrade with plastic to assure the wicking action will not affect the color of the concrete. Woohoo! We're installing 3/8 rebar throughout the entire slab at 4-foot centers to reinforce the slab. We're also going to install the steel in the bottom third of the slab. This is going to hold the slab together and create more strength, and that's what we're looking for. I'm cutting these rebar, they're 20-footers, in half. We need to overlap at least 1 foot when we tie. And here we go. Oh, jeez. Oh. What we're doing here is we're doweling into the existing concrete. What we don't want to have is the concrete to heave and cause a trip problem here. So what we're going to do, we're going to attach a piece of rebar through the concrete and tie it to the steel. Okay. And we're going to be doing this all the way across the existing concrete. All right, these stamps, they're flimsy. But when we come up to the edge of the form, we're going to have to cut these stakes off because of the fact that we want the imprint right along the edge of the form here. So we're going to saw all these stakes off. Go ahead, Furman. And just keep right on the cutting. Next one. We're covering up this beautiful brick for protection from the concrete splatter. 1 cubic yard of concrete is 3 times 3 times 3, which equals 27 square feet in 1 cubic yard of concrete. So how much concrete do we need to order for this? Length times width times depth of the slab. We have 50 feet by 20 feet wide, 1,000 square feet. Adding the 2 wings, 100 square feet, for a total of 1,100 square feet. Now, since it's 6 inches thick and there's 27 square feet in 1 cubic yard, 27 divided by 0.5 equals 54 square feet. 54 square feet is the amount that 1 yard of concrete will spread in this slab. So the total square feet, 1,100 square feet divided by 54, is roughly 20 yards of concrete. We don't want to run out of concrete. That's most important. We're going to add 2 more yards for a total of 22 yards of concrete for this slab. We're also going to have the 15-minute interval spacings for the trucks, so they're not coming all at the same time.
Behind you, Melville. Coming back. Right behind you, Melville.
Now that we've got the concrete laid down, we're tamping the edges and magging along the sides before we use the roller tamp, and then we're going to bull float the entire slab as the next process.
To increase the strength of this driveway, we're using a roller tamp to condense the thickness of the slab. By condensing the aggregate closer together, we'll force out moisture to the surface. This moisture is called bleed water.
Now that we've bull floated the slab, now we're incorporating the color to the surface. We're going to add 2/3 of the color to the total slab and work it in, and then the other 1/3 will be added after. We're trying to keep it from lumping together so we can work it into the surface easier. And the reason why we're putting just 2/3 of it on to begin with and working it in, it's not only easier that way, but you can also see where there's lighter areas that you need to fill in. I don't know if you can see it in here, but there are lighter areas. And this will allow more uniform coverage. Now that we have all the colored hardeners on the surface of the slab, we're edging it for the second time, Fresnoing the entire slab. We're getting ready to stamp the concrete. We're ready to start the stamping process. In order to do so, we need to start in the middle of the driveway, which is right here. I've made a mark on both sides of the string. We're going to pull this tight right there. Gambino is going to snap the line. Okay, go ahead and snap it. We'll probably have to do this together from both ends. See how it works out. That looks good right there.
The amount of release agent applied to the surface of the concrete prior to stamping will greatly affect the outcome of your project. Overuse of release agents will impede the stamp imprint. Only use enough release agent to keep the tool from sticking.
Stamp tight. Okay. Yeah.
What I have here is the floppy mat of the stamp set, and it's about half the thickness of the rest of the stamps, which allows us to go over forms onto existing concrete to achieve the look we're going for.
Great looking grout lines happen by no accident. To achieve the best results, place textured mats as close together as physically possible before imprinting the pattern, and then use the touch-up wheels to finish out the grout lines.
Now this has had time to set up that I can actually walk on this surface now. And I just want to get, it's a little bit wetter over here in this area, so I'm going to stay away from that. Keep the hose from dragging on the concrete. And I just want to rinse the top color off of here. Gently, just very gently doing this. And as you notice that that the grout lines are darkened, it's coming out beautifully. Once we get the heavy portion of the color off, we'll go over this whole driveway 2 or 3 times, whatever it takes, to get this uniformity of the color that we're looking for, which is this is pretty close right in here.
Okay, it's been approximately 24 hours since we've stamped and colored this driveway. One of our final steps we need to do is to install our control joints here. We do this so we control where the concrete's going to crack. Our driveway here is roughly 20 by 50. We're going to take our one all the way down the center and divide the rest into fifths, which will give us an equal 10 by 10 squares. Our driveway is 6 inches deep. You need to cut your control joints 25% of your thickness. So in this case, we're going to be 1.5 inches to 2 inches deep.
After saw cutting the driveway, it's very important to keep moisture from settling under the slab. And what you're going to want to do is to caulk these joints shut using a caulking compound. And what I have here is a color chart. And these are the different types of colors of caulking that you can get. And what I'm trying to do is come up with a combination here of these two colors, saddle tan and smoky gray, and it looks like this color, capital tan, is going to work the best for this application. And I went ahead and purchased this. This is construction sealant. The first thing that you need to do is cut the tip of it off, like so. And since the cuts are pretty narrow in the driveway, you're going to want to just barely cut the end of it off, like that. Then there is a barrier, a seal down here that needs to be poked a few times. I'm using this wire to stick down in there so the caulking can come out. This is going to be a little bit difficult doing it by hand. So if you have a couple guys that can do this, and be very careful when you're doing it, you don't want to get it all over the place. So let's go install this. Now the best thing to do before you start caulking is to put the caulking cartridges in the sun, heat them up. It makes it a lot easier for it to flow out the small nozzle hole. So I'm going to apply this into the saw cut. And you notice there's a little bit of mess there. This stuff gets all over, so you have to be very careful with what you're doing. You want to make a minimal mess, if any. Just get it going here. And a lot of times you can take your finger over caulking to smooth it out. But in this case, we have colored concrete. I want to make minimal mess. And if I use my finger, it's going to cause a wave effect and come up over the sides, and it'll look like that. So you have to be very careful. Take your time. It is difficult to do, but there again, patience. Okay, now here's a little trick that I've learned caulking driveways, is that if you take some dust, either from the driveway, but in this case we've already washed the driveway, power washed the driveway off, so there's no dirt. So I'm out here in the street in the curb, and I have a little dust, trying to keep the large rocks out of the scenario. I've got a little bit of dust there, making a little pile. Taking a steel trowel, putting it in there. I'm coming back over here to the beginning, and we started here this morning, and now I have a little bit of dust. I'm going to just set it here beside the caulking compound, and I'm just going to dust it. And you can see the difference on how it hides it. When you do caulk your driveway and you want to camouflage it just a little bit more with some dirt, You'll want to do it before the top surface dries and hardens, otherwise it won't stick to the caulk in the joint. I'm just bringing this thing down, following this joint with the dirt we got in the curb. It really camouflages this caulk, even though it is pretty close. You can't really tell right now because the slab is not sealed yet. It's going to draw out all those colors. So I'm just going to use my past experience and kind of guesstimate what this is going to look like. And it should be fairly close. You know, nothing's perfect, but it'll be close enough. And just leave my little pile right there. And I go back and get the caulk.
Clear Seal 18% solid solvent base acrylic sealer is for interior or exterior concrete and can be applied both vertically and horizontally. This sealer reduces the damage caused by salt, water, UV light, and is highly resistant to oil and some chemicals. The glossy finish of this sealer brightens the natural coloration of aggregates, enhancing their architectural and aesthetic qualities with a lustrous seal.
Oh, and then